Welcome to Accelerating Education, a podcast for everyone involved in educating today's kids, especially those who are interested in optimizing educational outcomes. Here's our host, Richard Capone.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Accelerating Education. My name is Richard Capone. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Let's Go Learn, and I'm the host of today's show. With us today is Cassie Dodson, the EC Department Chair of AO Elementary School, which is within the Alamance-Burlington School District. And I wanted to, basically introduce you, Cassie. So welcome.
Yes, thank you.
And maybe you could start off with telling us a little bit about your background. I know you have a rich a wealth of experience as a teacher, and maybe you can tell us about that before we jump in.
Yeah, so I've been teaching EC for 14 years now, and I've been an EC teacher within all three settings, so resource, inclusion, and self-contained. I have taught grades K through 12, every single grade I have been exposed to, and I'm currently now an EC teacher at an elementary school, and I've been here for 7 years. So I have seen a lot and have experienced a lot within the EC realm.
That's wonderful, and no wonder you're the department chair, because I think you need that rich wealth of experience in order to handle all the probably curveballs that get thrown at you all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so I wanted to start off with I know it's very challenging to be in special education EC departments nowadays, and I know uh, a while ago you had some issues that were coming up and you were trying to look for technology that might help you. Maybe you could tell us about some of the initial challenges that you were facing.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we were having a lot of challenges with when we collect data, it's just a lot of papers. And so when we're going through our meetings, a lot of the parents had, questions of like, what does this look like? Because it just to them looked like just a bunch of assessments. And so I got to thinking, our world is technology based now. We're using a lot of technology in the classroom. All the regular ed teachers have a lot of technology when they're assessing, such as MClass and Ames Web. And so I got to thinking, well, why can't EC have that? And when those problems started to arise, I went and started researching, and that's when I saw that Let's Go Learn was possibly an option. And so we dug a little deeper and looked into all the things that it had available. And when I saw EC, which is something that you don't see a lot, that's when I said, this is something I definitely want to look into. And when I did that, the whole reason behind that was so that I could have one place where it stored information over time. That way we could see that progress, and we can progress monitor them on those skills that they're struggling with and keep it all in one place. And so my initial thought was, if we could do this in elementary and we can track them over middle school and high school, this could be a program that could be throughout their whole entire educational time in school. So that's what
So
started it.
that's great. So, and obviously I'm a little biased on some of this, but let me ask you, what in the data did you find helpful, uh, as opposed to using other things like MClass or quiz systems like that?
Yeah, so in the data that I thought was very, very helpful, one, the graphs are super helpful for the parents in IEP meetings, especially where they can see where they started and where they ended. All of those skills like number sense, things that the student is struggling with on a real basic level, it's really easy to see. Another thing that really caught my attention was the way that Let's Go Learn puts it into how it's equivalent to what grade level they're on. That really puts it in perspective for the parents. And so when we have a third grader that we're talking about is performing at a kindergarten or first grade level, yes, we can see that on M class. Although the difference between that is M class and Ames Web is all the kids that are in their grade level. So how they're performing versus, the kids in third grade, if the child's in third grade, versus what we do for Let's Go Learn, it's literally telling you what grade they're performing at um, per child. And I think that's really what we try to look for when we're looking at EC students and their progress.
No, that's great because that's originally when we developed assessments with Dr. McCollum, he was like, "Okay, grades don't mean anything. It's about what can they do and what can they not do," right? Because
Right.
people will vary, and you can't just limit yourself to the range of the grade level. You have to be able to go down to K, or you have to go all the way up. And so
Right.
that's good to hear that that's helpful, in your particular
Yes.
situation.
And it also allows the kids to they get excited about their growth. They whenever we have their big assessments, they are able to see that instead of feeling, like a failure when they look at their scores when they're not understanding that these are across their actual grade level. We know you're not performing there, or you wouldn't be receiving EC services. But it also just gives them a little confidence boost to say, like, this is where I am. I just haven't got there yet to where I need to be.
Got it. And so, let me ask you another question. I think sometimes you talked about how parents have a hard time understanding different scores, right? So the grade level score equivalency makes more sense. Do you find like it helps save time uh, explaining what things mean, and also like trying to compare quizzes to like the baseline data? How did that affect your conversations with parents in that area?
Yes, so IEP meetings are so different now because they are able to understand where the kid was versus where they, you know, where they are now, and the graphs and the different I love that it does different colors for different times that we do it as well, because some kids' data will look very inconsistent up and down. And we see a lot of our students that are OHI, other health impaired, that may have a diagnosis of ADHD, and this really explains how their kind of how their brain's working. It's going up and down, and there's no consistency. And this is we're able to relay that message back to parents, like this is what we're seeing. Look at this data. We also have parents that don't speak a lot of English, and so this really helps them and understand like the basics of it. A lot of times they'll say, I don't know how to help my kid at home. And then they look at the stuff and they're like, okay, well, they are struggling here because I see that the graphs are different. So it's just it's a very good tool to use to be able to help a wide range of parents and getting them to understand where their actual kid is performing at versus where they actually, the grade level they're in.
And what about, are you using the, Edge product, the instruction to it as well, or are you
Yes,
using assessment
we
only?
are.
Mhm.
Yes. And so on Fridays, what I do a lot of times when I pull them to work on their goals, this is a way that I can pull them, but they're also doing another form of assessment data. So right there, I'm getting literally two forms of data where I'm working on their goals independently, and the rest of the group will be working on the EDGE program. And so while they're not just sitting there, they can actually be doing something that works towards what they're struggling with. I just had a kid, she's really struggling with money, and I had just said to myself, I need to change her groups because I don't think she's understanding this, and the EDGE program won't let her go any further because she's not getting it. And that's exactly what it needs to be. Like, don't go any further until you actually get the skill because it's going to build on one another. And so, with that piece of data last week, I changed her into my group that we're working on um, identifying coins and then counting on. And now she's going to come back after we get back from break, and I'm going to see if she's able to pass that, one
That
thing that
lesson,
she's
yeah.
struggling with. Yeah.
And I don't know if you realize, but you can also assign individual lessons too, to students
Yes.
individually.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. We
yeah.
do
Because
that a
that's
lot
sometimes.
too.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
And I will
Well,
I will oh, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the biggest thing that has really, really helped with Let's Go Learn is for an EC teacher's point of view, is being able to place these students and look at because you can look where they are and what standard they're struggling with.
Mhm.
And that is huge to me because a lot of times EC and regular ed seem to feel like they're disconnected in worlds, and we're not because we're supposed to be working on, the standards that where they are. in the classroom. And so that it allows me to be able to have that conversation with the regular ed teacher to say, look, this is where they're performing. These are the gaps that they have. Because look right here at the red arrows, they have those arrows, and then the
Yeah.
green ones, this is where they're doing great at. So it also helps the conversation with the regular ed teacher to get a better understanding of the child as a whole.
Got it. So that's the one you're talking about where it'll show you their grade level standard and then it shows their instructional standard. So you can see
Mhm.
this is where they're supposed to be, fifth grade, 5 dot NP, whatever, but they're actually operating at 2 dot da 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 da.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it tells
And
you
mm,
exactly what standards they need to master in order to get up to that actual skill level. And those are the standards that we try to work on within that time to be able to build them up to that, because we all know that every year, every standard builds on one another.
great. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, since AI has been so big, have you started using AI or any of your teachers in your classrooms yet?
Yeah, I have not used it yet. I have heard that some other people have used that to be able to create different things, but I have not used that yet.
Well, we'll let you know because you're sort of definitely a go-getter. We do
Yeah.
have an AI assistant we built into our system, and
Oh,
it'll allow you to do a first draft PLAF. So it could just look at the Adam and Dora data, and it'll actually write in paragraph format. And you're talking about. I realize what we could also do because AI is so good with language. You could say, translate this into Spanish, translate this into Vietnamese, or I mean, you could actually ask
right,
it to do
right.
other languages. So that would be
Yeah,
interesting
and
too.
and
So
I
if
think that's
yeah.
yeah, that's the hardest part for EC teachers is the amount of paperwork and time that it
Mm,
takes to do the paperwork. And then also teaching, and then also having the
yeah.
meeting. So like anything that's going to help the student be able to get, the best explicit instruction they can in small groups, such as programs like this that are going to help get that data and be able to put it in a form where everybody can understand it is worth it.
All right. Well, thank you. That sounds wonderful. And we're going to continue to try to add more features like that because that's our goal is to empower you as much as possible. So Cassie, thank you so much for joining us today, and I appreciate you sharing your experiences with us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Accelerating Education is sponsored by Let's Go Learn, maker of K-12 precision diagnostic assessment and instruction software. Thanks for listening, and be sure to check out our next episode of Accelerating Education.